Good evening and welcome to Ville News. I'm Kevin Lynch alongside Max Vigue, here to give you the latest local, state, and national headlines.
Coming up, we have updates on the Luigi Mangione case along with the Ukraine-Russian war. Stay tuned because Ville News starts now.
Luigi Mangione made his first court appearance in 2 months following his transfer Metropolitan Detainment Center in Brooklyn, New York. The 26-year-old UPenn graduate was arrested on December 9th on suspicion of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson 5 days earlier. He is currently facing charges in both New York State and Pennsylvania, along with federal charges that could lead to him receiving the death penalty. Dozens of Mangione's supporters showed up, while photos of the highly publicized suspect went viral on social media. Mangione's defense attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, spoke about Mayor Eric Adams speaking about sensitive materials in an HBO interview, along with Mangione being unconstitutionally searched when he was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania. She said, quote, "I think there is a very, very serious search issue in this material. There might be evidence that might be suppressed in this case," end quote. Mangione's next court hearing is set for March 19th, according to his attorneys.
The Russo-Ukrainian war marked the 3rd anniversary on Monday, with European leaders gathering in Kiev to reaffirm support as countries face mounting battlefield struggles. However, the absence of the U.S. senior officials highlights a shifting American policy under President Donald Trump, who recently criticized Ukraine's leadership, questioned their ambitions to join NATO, and signaled a willingness to negotiate with Russia. According to the Associated Press, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen warned the global autocrats are watching closely to see if Russian aggression will be met with deterrence or impunity. As Ukraine's forces struggle with the troop and weapon shortages, European allies are bracing for a potential reduction in U.S. aid, with the European Council scheduling an emergency summit on March 6 to address the crisis. In response to continued Russian aggression, the EU and Britain imposed sweeping new sanctions targeting Russia's oil exports, military suppliers, key officials, with the war entering its 4th year. Diplomatic efforts are intensifying. Trump pushing for negotiations has shifted the global conversation, but European leaders insist any deal must include Ukraine's voice. "You can discuss whatever you want with Putin," said EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas. "But if it comes to Ukraine, then Ukraine has to be at the table." As Russian forces continue advancing on Ukraine and its allies face a decisive year that could determine the war's outcome and reshape international security.
When we get back, updates on a pursuit in Cumberland County and Penn State campus closures. Ville News will be right back. In the afternoon of Sunday, February 23rd, a passenger in a Toyota vehicle was seen pointing a firearm towards other cars driving by in Cumberland County. The car was pulled over to a shoulder by Pennsylvania State Police and fled the scene when the officer was moving away from the car. As the Toyota was driving away, the passenger inside fired rounds from his pistol, which struck a patrol vehicle as more police followed in pursuit. The Toyota rode towards a Walmart parking lot in Schuylkill County and parked. From there, the 2 people inside the car entered the Walmart, taking clothes to alter their appearance, which led Walmart to lock down the store for the rest of the afternoon. 4 firearms were found at the scene, with 2 of them being used by the suspects. The 2 suspects were then subsequently charged on Monday, February 24th, with a numerous string of charges, including attempted homicide, reckless driving, and shoplifting. One of the suspects is currently held in Dauphin County Prison without bail, and Pennsylvania State Police are still looking for the second suspect who fled the scene.
Penn State University has announced that there are 12 Commonwealth branch campuses that are up for closure. These campuses are Beaver, Du Bois, Fayette, Greater Allegheny, Hazleton, Mont Alto, New Kensington, Schuylkill, Scranton, and Shenango, Wilkes-Barre, and York. The president of Penn State has said there are multiple factors behind these pressures facing the Commonwealth campuses. State funding is one factor, and another factor is that they're mostly enroll students from their surrounding areas. Many Commonwealth campuses are in these areas where the populations are declining, and it's projected for the next 3 decades or more. The president says that the decision will be made before the spring commencement on May 9th. Faculty and staff at the campuses that close may be able to be reassigned to other campuses. Students will have a clear and well-supported academic pathway, so every single student can complete their degrees at Penn State, either at another campus or online.
When we get back, we'll have updates on a girl who was hit by a car in the UPMC shooting. Ville News will be right back. A 9-year-old girl was hospitalized after being hit by a vehicle in Lancaster County. The girl was attempting to cross the street on the 100th block of North Main Street in Mannheim Borough when she was hit by a vehicle. The incident happened on Sunday the 23rd around 2 p.m. According to the police, there were no crosswalk or pedestrian controls where the girl crossed the roadway, and the driver of the striking vehicle remained on the scene. The 9-year-old girl suffered a severe head injury and had to be transported to Hershey Medical Center. Her condition is unknown at this time.
On Saturday, February 22nd, a fatal shooting occurred at the UPMC Memorial Hospital in York. The 49-year-old walked into the hospital with a bag containing a handgun and zip ties and headed for the ICU. The shooter was reported holding a nurse at gunpoint, firing empty rounds at her head, which stated, quote, "Every click of that gun was like being punched in the head," end quote. 4 people were shot in that incident: a doctor, a nurse, a custodian, and 2 police officers. One of those officers being Andrew Durite from West York Borough Police, who was killed in the line of duty. Following 4 injuries and 1 fatality, the culprit was taken down and killed by the police. The memorial service for the officer Durite will be held at the Living Word Community Church in Red Line, PA on February 28th at 1 p.m.
That's all we have this week for Ville News. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in next week for the latest local, state, and national headlines.